Bhante, we are now live, huh?
Oh, correct.
Good evening, Bhante.
Bhante, good evening, brother and
Yes,
sister.
good
Should we
evening.
start now, Bhante?
Yes, please.
Good evening, Bhante and all Kalyana Mita, Namo Buddhaya and Sukhi Hontu. I'm Aliana and welcome to Ti-Ratana Vihara Friday Sutta discussion by Bhante Dr. Ganggodawila Chandima. This is the day 151 of Sutta discussion, the third class of Satipaṭṭhāna Sutta with topic Iriyāpathapabba, with the topic Iriyāpathapabba, Iriyāpathapabba, section on posture, exercise number 2 in Satipaṭṭhāna practice. Satipaṭṭhāna Sutta is the 15th sutta that has been chosen by Bhante Chandima for this sutta discussion. In previous classes, Bhante has discussed about Manggala Sutta, Ratana Sutta, Metta Sutta, Sigalowada Sutta, Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta, Sabbasava Sutta, Pattakama Sutta, Patama Samajivi Sutta, Alawaka Sutta, Dajaga Sutta, Girimananda Sutta, Chulakama Vimanga Sutta, Chunda Sutta, Digajanu and Digajanu Sutta, which Bhante has elaborated those sutta in depth. For those who have missed our previous classes, please check on Ti-Ratana Vihara Amapadana Klang YouTube channel. We have uploaded the previous classes there. We are always welcoming newcomers, therefore please share around about this class to other friends and or family members so that whoever that wish to join the class via Zoom where we can engage directly with Bhante can contact the Vihara administrator, or you can join the class from Ti-Ratana Vihara Facebook channel where we broadcast the Sutta class live on every Friday evening from 8:30 till 10 p.m. Kuala Lumpur time. Now let me introduce to you about our speaker, Bhante Dr. Ganggodawila Chandima, who is the Associate Editor of the Journal of International Buddhist Studies, or JIBS, which is published by the Buddhist Research Institute of Mahachulalongkorn Raja Vidyalaya University in Thailand. Bhante was previously a research fellow at the Center for Studies in Religion and Society, or CSRS, at University of Victoria, Canada. Bhante Dr. Chandima was also a Theravada Buddhist chaplain at the University of British Columbia in Vancouver, Canada from year 2012 till 2016. Recently, Bhante Chandima has joined Ateneo de Manila University in Philippines as Assistant Professor of Buddhist Philosophy. Bhante is also the Senior Advisor to Patisota, a virtual Dhamma organization that hosts a weekly online Pali reading class, Sutta discussion, Dhamma talks, and a variety of other Dhamma activities. His Dharma works can be accessed at www.patisota.blogspot.com, and we can also follow Bhante at Patisota Facebook account. Without further ado, we welcome once again Bhante, and as always, thank you very much for the wonderful guidance and teaching. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Thank you, Aliana, for that introduction. Good evening, Dhamma friends. Welcome back into our Friday Sutta discussion, day 151. And I think that there are newcomers. Perhaps they might not know the history of this Sutta discussion. This is the earliest Sutta discussion I started for a Malaysian Buddhist center, even before Buddhist Mahavihara. So this was around 2022, March. That was the time we started, and then we are now going into day 151 of the Sutta discussion. So the Sutta discussion series was initiated by Ti-Ratana Vihara clan, and then they have been hosting this session all the while for almost these more than 3 years of time. So by giving you some background information about how it was started and what we are doing. Actually, we started off Satipaṭṭhāna Sutta, I think a few days ago, and now we are going into certain Satipaṭṭhāna practices in details. So before we get started, let us respect the Buddha. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Okay, so I think you may have read a little bit about today's topic with the notes. And today we are going to discuss the second Satipaṭṭhāna exercise. The first 6 exercises are coming under Kayanupassana, right? This is how I have mentioned it. So the first 6 are part of Kayanupassana, mindfulness with regard to the body. And then the next 9, they will fall under Vedananupassana, mindfulness based on the feelings. And then the next 16 practices, Satipaṭṭhāna exercises, after that will fall into Cittanupassana, mindfulness based on the thoughts. And then the last 5 will be on Dhammanupassana. That means mindfulness based on mental properties. There we don't take Dhamma to be doctrine teachings. We call them as mental properties. Another meaning for Dhamma is mental thoughts and then mental properties. So we need to understand each Satipaṭṭhāna exercise in a clear manner, because when it comes to Satipaṭṭhāna practices, there are a lot of information going here and there with regard to this practice. So I think it's very important for all of you to learn Satipaṭṭhāna. What is a Satipaṭṭhāna? And what are the different Satipaṭṭhāna exercises from the Satipaṭṭhāna Sutta itself? So then you don't have any confusion with regard to these Satipaṭṭhāna practices. Sometimes I don't know whether you may have noticed that some of the meditation styles were based on Satipaṭṭhāna, but they are doing in their own ways, right? We call them as, I don't want to name their movements, certain movements. Those certain movements, they are originally based, but then the way how they are doing could be different. We actually discussed a couple of them last week. One thing was that Anapanasati meditation practice, right? Now this breathing meditation practice has gone into different aspects within the movements, such movements. They have even gone into watching the rise and fall of their belly, right? And we discuss about the impossibility and impracticality about localizing the breath in the body, the wind element, right? That is not a good idea to localize on a certain place, I mean, wind element. So this way, by learning Satipaṭṭhāna exercises from Satipaṭṭhāna Sutta is very significant for you to have a clear knowledge. Knowledge alone is not enough, understanding. And yesterday we were talking about seeing the Dhamma. That is the highest. Not learning the Dhamma enough. Learning, understanding, realizing, and then being able to see it, right? So this is how we have been discussing the first Satipaṭṭhāna exercise. May I know how to pronounce today's Satipaṭṭhāna, the second Satipaṭṭhāna? Iriyāpatha. Iriyāpatha. Pabba. Pabba is a different word. Pabba means chapter. Chapter on postures. Iriyāpatha means Iriyāpatha. Patha means road. Have you ever found out this word in your readings? P-A-T-H-A, Patha. P-A-T-H-A. Maybe today. Patha. Patha means road. Actually, there are a lot of places where Buddha talks about this Patha. Remember, when he was talking, I think it's in Salleka Sutta in Majjhima Nikaya's, I think somewhere. Majjhima Nikaya's Salleka Sutta talks about Dasa Kusala Kamma Patha. Dasa Akusala Kamma Patha. Right? Now, normally people misunderstand with the teaching that is given in the Bala Pandita Sutta in the Majjhima Nikaya, where sometimes we hear it in this way. The possibility of being reborn as a human is such rare to the extent one one-eyed blind turtle is going to come out of the ocean, and at the moment the one-eyed blind turtle is coming up, his eye is going into the opening of the yolk, and then thereby the turtle is going to look up, and then the turtle is able to see the sky and outside of the ocean. This is a very rare moment, and some people think that being able to be reborn as a human being, is such rare. Actually, what the Buddha mentioned in that Balapandita Sutta is not the possibility of a human to be reborn as a human, but a hellish being to be reborn as a human being is such rare to the extent that one-eyed blind turtle is coming out. So I think it's a good news, right? Is it a good news? It's a good news. We have to celebrate that. How to celebrate it? To do more into the Dasa Kusala Kammapada. Buddha says, if we want to become a human again, of course we want to become a human, not to have a bhavatanha, a craving to become. As long as we are not becoming enlightened, we don't want to be we don't want to be reborn as a snake or a dog, a bird, or a ghost, or a yaka, even maybe a deva. It is better to be reborn as a human being who can improve this Dhamma practice. Right? A good Dhamma practice needs more lifetimes. One lifetime might not be enough. You know how is it difficult to put all this into practice after you listen to a Dhamma talk, Sutta discussion, right? Timing, and then I mean, we can't make a lame excuse about it, but it might be challenging. But we have to do it in the best way we can. So the Buddha said, if the human beings who are already humans are continuing their behaviors with regard to 10 kusala, that will be the karma patha for the next human rebirth. So patha means path, road, right? Now here, Iriyāpatha, Iriya, we understand, this is something like a line. That means this is referring to certain postures. Now we have 4 postures as we understand. What are the 4 postures?
Walking, standing, sitting, and lying down.
Walking, standing, sitting. You can take the other way around as well. Sitting, standing, walking, lying down. I'm saying that now we are seated. So we are seated, sitting, and by 10 o'clock you stand, and then you walk, and then you lie down. Maybe you don't lie down right away. You might take a shower and lie down, maybe. Right? So in that way, it might be easy to understand. Right? Sitting, then standing, walking, and then lying down. So these are the basic postures we know. We will discuss more information, but when I want to highlight something before we jump into this part. Do you remember a certain place where Buddha talks about certain postures with regard to our metta meditation? Now, I'm trying to bring you to metta meditation, which is not our subject today. Have you found out a place where Buddha talks about postures and how postures matter? Or how metta matters to postures, or how postures matter to metta?
Metta Sutta.
Metta Sutta. How did the Buddha bring about postures with regard to metta? You remember the Pali stanza? Now chanting is a chanting issue now. I think you are
Itam
chanting,
charam
right?
nisinova sayanova
Yes.
katam vikata mito.
Okay.
Titta
Charam.
charam nisinova sayanova is the lying down.
Yes. So this is the 9th verse in the Metta Sutta, right? Tittang, Charang, Nisinnova, Sayanova. Actually, all the 4 postures are mentioned there. Tittang, standing, Charang, walking, then Nisinnova, sitting, and Sayanova, not sleeping.
Lying
What?
down.
Sayanova, Yavatassa Vikatamittu. Lying down as long as you are awake. That means you haven't gone into the sleep. Lying down as long yava vigata middu as long as you are awake. What are we supposed to do in those postures? Etang sating aditteya, established in the metta mindfulness on metta. That's why metta is not a sitting meditation. Metta is not a mantra that you keep saying 2 days, 3 days. Metta is our posture activity. That means I stand with metta. Do we stand with metta?
Yes.
Or do we stand to scold somebody? Right? There are people who are standing to scold some people. So they are not standing with metta. They are standing with maybe dosa. And then tittang charan. Do people walk with metta? Or do they walk with greed? I want to open my fridge and eat something very sweet. Right? With some amount of, eating something as such is not greed all the time, but I'm telling you the compulsive eating habits, right? So are we walking with metta? And then let's say I stand, I walk, then what I have to do? I have to sit down, right? I can't always stand and walk. We sit down. Then are we sitting with metta? And then finally, Yavatassa Vigatamiddu. Am I able to lie down somewhere, be that a cozy chair, cozy bed, or my other place, wherever, with metta? Or maybe I'm going to lie down with some frustration. How much work have I been involved in today? Or maybe I'm trying to be feeling my disappointment with regard to people that give me a hard time today, or maybe some other issues, maybe future. Because nowadays people are selling uncertainty, right? Across the world, everybody's selling uncertainty. Nobody's with you. Something will happen to you. Who is there for you, right? In this selling uncertainty culture, people might be frustrated. Who is going to be there for me? Money cannot do everything for me. Money can do certain things better than somebody. But when we know that there's a attention culture economy, and then on the other hand, uncertainty is the very important, the most marketing point, which is being sold by many organizations, insurance companies, career choices, even loved ones sometimes, right? So how to keep my happiness? Because if I can bring metta into my lying down position, I should be able to understand this attention economy, uncertainty culture, and all that. Anyways, regardless of ability of you are going to be able to do that or not, what we are supposed to do is that you lie down with metta, right? So then once again, Tittang charang nisinnova sayanova yavatasya vigatamindhu etang sating aditteya. That means we have to individually. Aditteya means create metta. Not after I done everything, I sit down for meditation, then I'm creating metta. Right? That is not the proper way to establish metta. I have to stand with metta. I have to walk with metta. I have to sit with metta. I have to lie down with metta. Now you might see the challenges. Of course, we have to see the challenges as well. What are the problems with regard to us not being able to stand with metta? Maybe we might be very anxious. We might be very paranoid about what's happening in our life. We might be very excited about things. We might be too busy. We might be, I would say, frustrated. We might be uncertain about things, right? We might think that we have to support someone. Always keep an eye on those people because we might think they are making mistakes in their life, our loved ones. So whatever the urge that makes us to not being able to bring metta should be understood. That's why the Buddha said, Etang sating aditteya. Then look at what he's saying at the end. Brahma metang viharangitama. This is the Brahma. Brahma means highest form of living a day. Right? Brahma metang viharang. Living, Brahma, highest living. So if I want to look back today, October 10, October 10, have I been able to live to the best of my day today, October 10? Then I can go back to my time. I can go back to my certain activities which I engage today. The people whom I talk to, places I've been to, thoughts that I went through, perceptions that I maintain even now looking at them. So I will go back and do a quick Dhamma review, a Pachavikkana, reflection about it. So when I find out if I have not been able to do much with metta, then I think that is a wake-up call for my attitudes to look at metta in a living way, right? So then, now you can understand, Buddha even talk about postures, not even in the Satipaṭṭhāna Sutta's framework. So what I can suggest before we jump into Satipaṭṭhāna Sutta's 4 postures is that we can understand the Buddha's suggestions to practice metta in all postures as a what do you call support to get into our postures. Now we know postures have to be noticed. We will look at why is it? Why should we do that? And then if you think that it might be difficult for you to trace back, look at your postures, then you can bring metta into that as well. So Iriyāpatha can be maintained with metta meditation. I think that's an easy way. We're going to blend metta with the Satipaṭṭhāna Sutta's framework of postures. All right, let's now get into the exact place of Satipaṭṭhāna Sutta's Iriyāpatha meditation. I would say Iriyāpatha Satipaṭṭhāna practice. Okay, may I ask some of you to read just to see your Pali talents? Who dare to read at this point? Kayanupassana Iriyāpathapabba. So you will read only the Pali. Yes. Yes, Kebion, please.
Thank you, Bhante. I'll try.
You will read, I think we have almost, yeah, just only six. Should be okay, yes.
Okay, all right. Punya chaparang bhikkhave bhikkhu gachanto va gachamiti pajanati tito va titom hiti pajanati nisino va nisinom hiti pajanati sayano va sayanom hiti pajanati yatha yatha va panasakayo panihito hoti Ti-Ratana pajanati. Iti ajatang wa kaye kayanupasi viharati. Bahida wa kaye kayanupasi viharati. Ajata bahida wa kaye kayanupasi viharati. Samudaya damanupasi wa kayasmi viharati. Vaya Dhammanupasi va kayasmi viharati. Samudaya vaya Dhammanupasi va kayasmi viharati. Ati kayoti va panasa sati pachupatita hoti. Yavadeva nyamna mataya pati sati mataya anisito cha viharati. Na cha kinchi loke upadiyati. Evam biko bikawe biku kayanupasi viharati.
Great.
Yeah, thank you, Bhante.
Bye-bye. Impeccable reading. Yeah. How do you call that? Impeccable reading. Good, great.
Now you brought something there, is it?
So, that's interesting. It shows our Pali class is working very well, obviously. Hopefully that others are, improving their talents, right? Okay, we will take a look at the translation here. Now, the Buddha used bhikkhu. You don't have to worry about that. You can use yourself. Now, gachantu va gacchami iti pajanati. Now, may I ask you a question? Where is gaccha? I would say gachantu va gacchami iti pajanati. You can say aham, I go. When going, gacchami iti pajanati. There, that person understands that there is a walk happening actually. This is the way that we have to come to. Not that I walk, right? This is the problem here. Even when people understand this, when going, I go. When standing, I stand. When sitting, I sit. When lying down, I lie down. Yes, earlier we understand when going, I understand there is a walking. When standing, I understand there is a standing. When sitting, I understand there is a sitting. When lying down, I understand there is a lying down, because there we have to believe, we have to accept that there is a changing self here. Self is existing with changes. That's why when we talk about any practice, any Dharma practice, any concept in Buddhism, we cannot discard this self. But some people, without understanding this idea, they are going to take the Pali word atta, A-T-T-A, with not self perspective right away, which is not the correct way to take it. Because Buddhism does talk about atta and anatta, not only anatta. Yes, anatta is the higher understanding. But to understand anatta, there should be somebody, right? Isn't it? Who is understanding anatta? If there is nobody, who is understanding anatta? That is a question.
Yeah.
Right? Atta is a change, but be careful. A changing atta understands not self. Not a permanent atta is going to understand anatta. So that's why the Buddha is asking us to understand conventional use of atta and the ultimate use of anatta across all these suttas. And when it comes to the Abhidhamma, Theravada in original explanations, the Theravada monks who lived from Ashoka's time, Dharmashoka's time, they understood this is a problem. So we have to address this issue. That is the point. They said, no, Buddha said atta at the level of convention. They call it what? Sammuti Satcha. And while the Buddha also talk about anatta at the level of Paramatta Satcha. They divided that because they saw the problem here. But even you go back to the suttas, early suttas, you can understand, even though it was not very much clearly given, that Buddha talks about atta. The Buddha is always saying, what do you call, tum hehi kiccang atappang akkataro tathagata patipanna pamukkanti jaino mara bandhana. You have to exert yourself. Tathagatas are only supporting you. Tathagatas cannot bring you to Nibbana, right? It is your own inner work. And also Dhammapada has a whole chapter about self, attavagga. And yesterday we discussed even a stanza, Udakanghi nayanti nettika usukara namayanti tejana. Right? Darunhi namayanti tachaka attanang damayanti pandita. Panditas are even training self, that changing self. So it's a very, it's a common belief, the Buddha's understanding that atta, changing atta exists. But if you refer to the Hindu atta, Upanishad and all these books atta, that is a permanent self. If your reference is that, you need to understand that. The Upanishad works atta. We call it as Atman. Okay, going back to the place of Iriyāpatha here. Now, when I would put it this way, when someone is walking, she understands I am walking. When standing, she understands I am standing. When sitting, she understands I am sitting. When lying down, she understands I am lying down. Now, I think Pali words are pretty clear for you if you if you think more and more. Can you look at the Pali word here? Pajanati, 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 pajanati. And we know that the Pali word janati, right? But this is not janati, right? Can you think about the difference between janati and pajanati? Now, janati means?
Knowing, understanding.
Yeah, that's the thing. That's conventional knowing, right? All of you knew that we would hold the Friday Sutta discussion today, right? It can be a minor form of janati. But what about a certain Pajanana version with regard to this class. That is a bit different level. That is a bit higher level. When the prefix per is used before Janati, that means there is a speciality with regard to that Janati. Don't you know when you walk, you are walking? May I know?
Knows
Before
clearly.
we discuss
Bhante,
it.
is it knows clearly?
Yeah, knows clearly. Now I'm asking, don't you know when you normally walk, you are walking? You know you are walking.
Yeah.
Don't you know when you stand, you are standing? I think you know. In some ways, you know. When you are, don't you know when you sit down, you are seated? I think you know. Don't you know that you are lying down in a place that you want to rest a little bit, and then you know it is going to be the sleep? I think you know. Then I think that is Janati, a little bit Janati, but that might not be Pajanati. So we can use clearly knowing, fully knowing. Actually, our next Satipaṭṭhāna is Sampajana. So we will discuss that a little bit more. So Pajanati should be a certain higher level of knowing. This certain higher level of knowing is definitely knowing more than what we feel, what we are doing. Now, sometimes we might walk unconsciously. Say for instance, without even knowing what we are doing at that point. But for most of us, we have some sort of knowledge with regard to our postures. But when we say Pajanati, that should be clearly a distinctive understanding about, knowledge about that particular activity. Okay. This section introduces mindful awareness of bodily postures. Each posture, walking, standing, sitting, lying down, is known clearly as it is. The emphasis is not on the act itself, but on knowing the act with full presence. This transforms everyday bodily movement into meditation, dissolving the distinction between formal and... I want to touch that part. This is a very interesting claim. This transforms everyday bodily movement into meditation. What kind of thing which is debunking here? Dissolving the distinction between formal and informal practice. Do we have this kind of an idea? Do we make a point that I have a formal meditation practice and I also may have an informal meditation practice? I think some people do say that. They say, morning, I have my morning meditation. 20 minutes, 30 minutes, my meditation. That might be a good idea to do it. But what about after the 20 minutes? Are you not doing meditation? What could be the meditation that you are doing after 20 minutes? No, then I am in my own world, right? I'm doing my other things. What kind of meditation are you talking about? Now, this clearly tells us it is not like that. That means within a formal practice, I will sit down for that particular thing. The problem here is that Kammatana problem, because some people think that if I want to meditate, I need Kammatana. Kammatana idea comes from Visuddhimagga, right? For a particular meditation purpose. But according to Buddha here, every posture is a meditation, not a normal meditation, Satipaṭṭhāna. So we don't have to separate out that this is a formal practice and this is an informal practice. No, my practice is always formal. I do it in that way. When I walk, when I stand, because by doing so, I feel very much benefited about my physical, mental, emotional health, right? So then here, the Buddha is trying to teach us that it is not only the what you call formal kind of meditation someone engages, but also all the postures can be used, right? Can be used if necessary for someone to create mindfulness through the postures. Normally, some other people might look at it in another angle. There are people who are walking, right, for different purposes, right? They might be catwalking, they might be walking to show this is how we are walking. Walking can be a style, right? And then in another context, what is happening, just like how I said the other day, being able to look at how we are breathing helps us to become mindful. And on the other hand, today, being able to see how we are into different postures help us to be mindful as well, right? So this is the main idea of postures. And then going forward, yatha va panassa kayu panihito hoti tata-tatana pajana. Not even the postures themselves. So posture meditation goes beyond the postures. However, her body is disposed of, panihito, disposed of, which she understands clearly. Now we are getting into a very interesting thing here. We have to look at it. How is our walking happening? What are the Dhamma concepts behind the driving force of our postures? Have you ever studied that part? Under what, or maybe with the support of what element are you able to stand? Are you able to walk? Are you able to sit? Are you able to lie down?
Wind.
Wind.
Wind element.
Wind element. Vayu dhatu. This is given in many places. Vayu dhatu cannot itself do it. Vayu dhatu is the driving force behind our postures. But Vayu dhatu is supporting kaya vinyati. This is Abhidhamma concept. Kaya vinyati to kaya vinyati means a certain expression, manifestation. Not everybody walks in the same way, right? Some people walk by moving their hands. Some people walking maybe a little bit jumping. Some people walking a little bit slow. Why is it different? Because of their kaya vinyati. Their manifestations with regard to their body. On the other hand, vachi vinyati, manifestation about speech. That is supported by Patavi, the first element. What do you call?
Earth.
Yeah, earth element. Earth element supports someone to talk with supported by the Vachi. So it's a little bit of information. But whenever someone asks you, how are you standing? What Dhamma concept is talking about how people can stand, how any sentient being can stand, walk, sit. It is true, Vayu dhatu.
No.
Right? So now here, the Buddha says, not even the postures, whatever the subtle postures, whatever the situation, are there any postures, are there any situations that we might be spending without coming to a formal posture? Now we are seated, right? We can stand later on, and we can walk. We might lie down. Are there any in-between postures? Among these postures, when the transition happens, there could be.
Yes.
Yes,
Stretching.
yes,
Stretching.
yes.
Bending.
Bending, turning, everything.
Yeah, there are slight
Stretching.
postures. And when we learn the life of the Buddha, when the Buddha passed away, Venerable Mahakāśyapa
Reclining.
and then he took care of the Sangha community. And then within 3 months of time, Arahan Mahakāśyapa asked Venerable Ananda, now we are going to conduct a Sangayana, first Dhamma Council. Only Arahants can join in that Dhamma Council. And without you, we cannot do the Sangha Council because you are the one who knows everything about the Buddha's suttas and all that. But the problem is you are not an enlightened monk yet. So please try your level best to become an enlightened monk. before the Dhamma Council. What happened? It is said that just before the Dhamma Council, we don't have any chronology exactly. Just before the Dhamma Council, what happened? Venerable Ananda became an Arahant without coming into any particular posture. Perhaps his enlightenment had took place during that in-between posture situation. So that's a very good example actually. Arahant, Venerable Ananda became an enlightened monk without spending the meditative time during that short subtle time into a certain formal posture. Formal posture means it was not happened during while he was sitting, standing, walking and lying down. It happened in a very subtle moment between the transition. So that means there are slightest, subtlest moments between executing, changing these postures. Now, what does Satipaṭṭhāna Sutta say here is that the Buddha clearly says, not even you are going to be mindful when you are particularly spending a regular position, regular posture. Regular postures are these 4 postures, but also depending on how the body is disposing you with regard to wind elements supported by Kaya Vinyati, you are mindful about whatever the whereabouts, whatever the situations happening within your in-between postures, right? So that means it can be said this could be a very exclusive, inclusive type of awareness the meditator, you, Sangha member, whoever is going to do. So the panihito, the word panihito means dispose of. That means this includes even a slight subtle transition with regard to in between postures. Let's see. Here, mindfulness extends to all bodily configurations, not limited to the 4 major postures, such as these 4: walking, standing, sitting, lying down. Whether bending, stretching, turning, the practitioner maintains lucid knowing of the body's placement. This points to continuous awareness. Sati-sampajanya, overall mindfulness sustained in all activities throughout the day. And then now we are coming down to the same recurrent phrasing which we learned in the previous Satipaṭṭhāna. Iti ajjattang va kāye kāyanupassati. Now the meditator, the person, is going to practice this particular posture meditation internally and externally. What is this external practice? We discussed that the other day. Universalizing the posture experience. That means not even me. Everybody is walking. Whether they are mindful or not, they are also doing that. If they are going to be mindful, they may be also doing this posture meditation. If they are not doing that, I do understand that their postures are happening. That understanding, and she dwells by understanding that not even me and them be. Sometimes I have to understand this scenario that both of us are able to do it. Posture meditation. The triadic formula, internal, external, and both broadens mindfulness beyond the self. How did we explain this? Internal, external, and both internal, external thing. Why did the Buddha mention this as a part of Satipaṭṭhāna practices? It is because when I only become mindful about my postures, I may definitely develop a certain good Sakkaya Ditti. Right? I mean, I tell good Sakkaya Ditti means there are people who are creating personality conceit, or I would say belief, Sakkaya ego, Sakkaya Ditti, through the good stuff. What do you think? You are generous about something, then you are bragging about your donations, your generosity, dana, I did this and that, I meditated and all that, right? It can happen. That's why the Buddha said, watch out. I'm telling you, when you meditate, keep that to you. You can share just to see anumodana from others. But be careful. Even your Satipaṭṭhāna practice end up with the Sakkaya Ditti. That's why the Buddha said you have to universalize that this phenomenon is happening from my friends and from every human being if they want to see it that way. So I'm going to universalize that experience, right? Do we universalize our experience sometime? Just to be on the Dhamma side? Do we do that? May I know? This is about Satipaṭṭhāna. I'm asking a general question. Do we universalize our state of mind at different times in our life? Maybe to understand what's going on. Think about you have a very bad pain, right? And then you might feel that why me? I'm a very good person. I'm practicing Dhamma. Why me? Right? Why it happened to me? And then for many years you are struggling. I'm doing good things. And then I'm not happy in my life. Something is holding me up. And then you come to know that one of your friends is going through chemo treatments and cancer treatments or some other things. Even perhaps amputations, pretty bad, maybe diabetic issues, maybe cancer treatments. How much painful experiences are my friends going through? If I look at my pain and their pain, and you universalize this pain, perhaps this could give you a better sense of life. Maybe you happen to see people who are struggling through disasters in their life, family breakup, relationship breakups, loss of their jobs, financial hardships, maybe sicknesses. And then you universalize your experiences. It can help you to understand. I think you will find out your answer, right? So sometimes this could be given this way. In the purest silence in your life, you will find answers to all of your problems. Maybe not from the temples, not from the Dhamma talks. Maybe those Dhamma talks, Sutta studies, readings will help you to come to that point. And you will find your own answers by yourself in that pure silence in your life because you universalize. If you don't universalize your meditation experience, you will end up with a nice Sakkaya Ditthhiya, not a bad Sakkaya Ditthhiya. I mean, Sakkaya Ditthhiya. I mean, if it is nice or bad, I think both is, they're not good. So that's why the Buddha asks us to universalize all the Satipaṭṭhāna practices. It might be breath, now, today it's posture. Okay, and then we keep going, the same thing, but I want to highlight, because we want to talk more about walking postures. Samudaya, Vaya Dhamma, and Samudaya Vaya Dhamma. So the meditator observing body, depending on, based on the postures, subject to origination, subject to disappearing, vanishing, subject to both. What does this mean? This section deepens contemplation into anicca sanya, the perception of impermanence. One sees the body as a process, continuously arising and ceasing. Awareness of this flux uproots craving and builds insight in dukkha and anatta. The body is no longer mind, but a transient flow of conditions. I think we discussed this in a little bit differently on the last week. How did we discuss? How can I walk without the support of the origin of my body? Right? My body was already arisen. That's why I am walking. Right? If I had not have this body, I would have not walked. I would have not engaged in other postures. So I'm looking at the origination of my body, origin of my body, and then ending of my body at a certain. So that means I always understand, because of the 5 aggregates, I have been able to do these postures. I'm looking at where do these postures come from? Although Vayodhatu supports me with Kaya Vinyati, but I understand without the 5 aggregates support, there's no walking, there's no sitting, there's no standing, there's no lying down. And I do understand all these postures arise as a matter of keeping the 5 aggregates. It arose because of the rising of the body. And all these postures will vanish, disappear when the five aggregates come to the conclusion. When the body is not available, means five aggregates have been disintegrated, not integrated anymore. So this is the part. Samudaya vaya, samudaya vaya. So this understanding with regard to walking. That means you now here you understand you can't just be conscious about your posture. You also need to add certain layers of understanding. What are the layers? I can see my own postures. I can universalize. I can do the both. I also should see why have I been able to walk? Why have I been able to sit? Why have I been able to stand? Why have I been able to lie down? Why? And then why not one day? Why not one day means the disintegration of the five aggregates, that section with regard to my postures. And then not even that, now it is going high. Attikayotiva panassa sati pachupattita hoti yavadeva jnana mattaya patissati mattaya anisitocha viharati rajakinchi loki upad. This is the highest level of Satipaṭṭhāna practice at the end of any Satipaṭṭhāna practice. Attikayotiva, or mindfulness that there is a body is established to the extent necessary for knowledge and mindfulness. That means, do we have to have a mindfulness that body is existing more than the extent of that mindfulness? I don't think we need to have it. We only need to have that body exists to the extent of understanding that mindfully. But if I create an understanding, no, body exists more than the extent of the mindfulness. That is not necessary. That is where we are coming into another sakkaya. The body exists, rupa exists, vedana exists, sanya, sankara, viññāna exists. No, I only need to clarify that my body exists through mindfulness of postures to the extent that I can be keeping that mindfulness. And then not even that. Yavadeva jnānamattaya patissati mattaya anissitocha viharati. This is what we discuss about. To the extent necessary for knowledge and mindfulness, jnana, and patissati means repeated mindfulness, and thereby you meditate anybody, anissitocha viharati. You dwell unassociate. How to dwell unassociating? May I know? Do we dwell associating or do we dwell unassociating in our life? Try talking, right? We have to associate kalyana mitta. So we live with kalyana mitta. Association, not that association. That is a different type of association. We need that. But this is a personal observation. What does Buddha say here? By dwelling, by not associating means that you dwell, you keep the body, but you understand that these five aggregates exist to the extent that I carry the body, and they don't exist at the point of disintegration. That means at the point of death. So that understanding has to be there by separating out five aggregates from a I, me, myself mentality. So that means posture meditation supports, Satipaṭṭhāna supports you to disintegrate or deconstruct. I walk and a mere walking happens. I stand, a mere standing happens. I sit, a mere sitting happens. I lie down, a mere lying down happens. So posture meditate, Satipaṭṭhāna supports us to clearly understand the difference between someone practices walking or there is a walking happening because to the merit of his or her aggregates integration, right? That is what we can separate out at the, not even that, not even anisito. Nacha kinche loke upadiyati. I think we discussed that. Not grasping at anything in the world. Loke, what kind of world is that? This is the Panchakanda world. When we don't when we dwell not by not associating the Panchakanda world, we have no problem with regard to clinging into that world, because we know that world and we separate out that world and the reality, right? So this is what we call posture meditation. May I repeat again how to do this meditation, posture meditation, Satipaṭṭhāna meditation? You particularly understand your postures, not even the postures, even the subtle, what you call minor transitional postures between regular postures must be noticed. And then you are going to look at your postures, not even postures themselves, but also from your part by universalizing and both, and also by learning why am I able to get into these postures and why am I not able to get into postures one day. Samudaya, vaya. And finally, you are going to bring up an understanding to the extent that you can have a repeated mindfulness that as long as I carry this Panchakanda world, I dwell by understanding postures this way without associating five aggregates and without clinging to those very five aggregates. This is what posture Satipaṭṭhāna, Iriyāpathapabba. Now, let us, because our time is very short, we will get into something very interesting here. Okay, notes. Okay, how do our postures arise? The thoughts of sitting, standing, walking, lying. Thoughts, not the very activity. Thoughts of sitting, standing, walking, and lying down. That means when I think I want to sit, when I think I want to stand, when I think I want to walk, when I think I want to lie down, that very thought or those thoughts are generated through the Vayu Dhatu, the element of wind or motion. It is Kaya Viññāti, the bodily expression or intention that directs the Vayu Dhatu toward a specific activity. What does it mean? Now I want to stand. The direction of standing, the way how do we stand differently? Yes, when we are excited, we stand very fast, right? Maybe when we are very emotional, we stand in a different way. Have you seen people when they are really paranoid, when they are really emotionally maybe different, that they are standing differently? Yes, they are. So that means although the thought of standing is generated by Vayu Dhatu, element of wind or air, the direction of what kind of standing is that is propelled by Kaya Viññāti. Kaya Viññāti is your own style of standing, walking, sitting, and all that, right? And then depending on this mental impulse, the movement of the wind element manifests as sitting, standing, walking, lying. That means depending on the direction or manifestation of the Kaya Viññāti, only Vayu Dhatu can propel that particular posture, right? So Vayu Dhatu highly depends on Kaya Viññāti with regard to postures. Without Kaya Viññāti, you will not be able to. Now think about a handicapped person who is bedridden or maybe wheelchair bound. How is his or her postures going on, right? He or she cannot stand on his or her own. So then at that point, somebody has to support, right? Give a support to stand. At that point, what could be his or her Kaya Viññāti manifestation? It depends. It could be a karma, because karma also affects the way how we walk, sit, stand, and all that. Because we know animals cannot walk straight, right? Is it? Can animals walk very straight like this? Then you don't call them as Ti-Ratana. What's the Pali word for animals? Ti-Ratana. Ti-Ratana means walking across. They cannot walk straight. So we are very compassionate towards animals. I mean, any animal, any, feline or maybe mammals or cats or dogs, whoever. We looking at their manifestation of how they can walk across. That's why the Pali word called Ti-Ratana means those beings who are walking across, right? So, even the bedridden one, wheelchair bound one, has a manifestation. When other people are trying to, get him up, at that point, he or she displays a certain way of standing, walking, and all that. So that means I'm trying to tell you that Kaya Vinyati is universal, depending on the ability to walk and whatever the postures, regardless of the ability, it happens. It is what happening. And then understanding Vinyati. This is part of, there are two Vinyati, Kaya and Vachi. So, Kaya Vinyati, bodily expression or manifestation. This is the movement of the body that reveals intention, such as walking, standing, or making gestures. It depends on the Vin element Vayu Dhatu, which enables motion. When the mind forms an intention, the Vayu Dhatu moves accordingly, resulting in a visible bodily act. For example, when one thinks I shall sit, the Kaya Vinyati directs the Vin element to bend the body into the sitting posture. Now you know how important is, how significant is Kaya Vinyati. Let's take the Vachi Vinyati part, speech, verbal expression or manifestation. This refers to speech or sound produced by the earth element, Patavidana, as influenced by intention and the activity of the vocal organs. What are the vocal organs that we discuss in the suttas? How do our speech arise? What are those two? Vitakka and Vichara. They are the elements of our speech. And then when those two are blended, earth element is supported by Vachi Vinyati to speak. When one intends to speak, the bodily processes generate vibration, making communication audible to others. In both cases, Vinyati acts as the bridge between mental intention, Chetana, and physical expression. It allows the inner volition of the mind to become outwardly perceptible, forming the basis of moral responsibility. From a psychological perspective, Vinyati can be understood as the interface between mind and matter. How consciousness directs physical processes to manifest behavior. In modern terms, it resembles the neuromuscular activation that follows intention, but in Buddhism, it's more deeply tied to moral and karmic volition rather than mere mechanics. Do you know when someone had a injury in the hand, when someone was on certain, what do you call, those titanium tools or whatever, for maybe 1 month, 2-3 months, 4-6 months, maybe almost 1 year, even the person is fully recovered, the person's hand automatically goes to the same position how he kept the hand for 6 months. Why is it? Now, I think there are a lot of neurodharma research happening. They say muscles have a memory. Neuromuscular memory. That means when we keep our bodily postures in certain ways, our muscles are creating a certain shadow memory with regard to what and how they are going to keep those muscles. So that means these Kaya Vinyati, Vachi Vinyati are really impacting from another layer, if muscles can have that. Okay, now we are going back to posture, some of the insights depending on the time, and then we will let other people ask any questions they have. Number 1, the art of knowing transitions where awareness awakes. This is what I said, small, subtle, minor movements. Mindfulness is not limited to sitting quietly. It blooms in the shift from one posture to another. The Buddha's instruction when walking, no, I'm walking, when sitting, no, I'm sitting, invites awareness of movement between moments. That means even the transitional stages are also important. This is what we discuss here as, what is it? Not even the major four postures. Yata yata va panasakayo panhito hoti tata paja. However, his or her body is disposed of, which he, she understand clearly. Not even the regular postures. It is even the transitional movements, right? And then the body as a mirror of the mind. Now, when we discuss about the inseparability between mind and body, there are different thoughts. Now you think about when some people think about Buddhism, they are always thinking mind is the most important thing, right? But mind cannot survive without the body, right? Mind is the manifestation of everything, our Chetana part, ethical part. But that mind cannot exist without a body. So then, body cannot survive without the mind. And in the same way, mind cannot survive without the body. So both are mutually inclusive. Not that both are mutually exclusive. So don't take to the point that, oh, mind, Buddhism is about mind, and Buddhism does not talk about, no, Buddhism does talk about the body. Why Buddhism talks about body? If you have the mind, even the dog has a mind, snake has a mind. But what is his body? Think about the snake body. It's also a body. But maybe this snake was a human in a previous life. But now think about his body now. Painful. People are trying to attack. Anytime there could be a disaster. Right? So that means in order to get a nice, I would say, an impeccable body that has less sicknesses, right? That has well-being, one must have done good karma, just like all of you. And you have done extra good karma. That's why you have been able to come to the Zoom discussion, right? To learn them, extra. You say, he or she is not compassionate, or sometimes runs an extra mile to help people, right? So that's why body matters. But some people don't understand that. Body matters. If the body doesn't matter, don't complain about your sicknesses to anybody. Don't go to the vihara saying that I am sick, I want to get the blessings of the Sangha members. Don't go there. If the body doesn't matter to you, body does matter to us. That's why we have to do good karma. We have to support other people when they are sick. We have to check up on them whether they are safe or not. We have to support in whatever the way. Mudita, altruistic joy. That's very important, right? So, what if you have all the Dhamma mind, but you are sick, you are bedridden, you can't go anywhere, and that holds you back, right? That's why here we need to understand when we talk about the postures, postures are not postures themselves. Why? Postures are mind related. Now you know the connection. Why posture? Now some people think I walk, I sit, these are postures, my body is going here, and no, your postures are connected to the mind. In how? In what way? Through Kaya Vinyati. Kaya Vinyati is through your mental aspects. So then, when we do this Satipaṭṭhāna on Iriyāpatha, we also understand the inseparability of mind and body. But we are not attaching to anything. We don't cling to mind or body. But we understand mind cannot survive without the body, body cannot survive without the mind. That is the correct understanding. So that is very important. And then We will just see some of the important stuff. Walking as a way of, now we are picking up postures separately. Walking as a way of insight, not exercise, but existence. In posture meditation, walking is not about covering ground. It's not about uncovering presence. Each step becomes a revelation of impermanence. One foot lift poses, lands, placed down on the ground. Each moment arises and ceases, echoing the pulse of anicca. Has anybody done the walking meditation thinking impermanence? May I know? Because your one foot is being lifted, it is being moved forward, it is being placed down, and then now you know this foot is done that's process, and then now the other foot is being lifted. Have you seen anicca with regard to your walking? Maybe not. Maybe you still were trying to get a sense of what is happening while I'm walking. Now you have to go beyond next time, right? Now think about the people who never done walking meditation, but people who have done it, they were able to watch how lifting, moving forward, and placing down happen. But now that understanding is not enough. Then we are also going to look at how anicca manifest in their experience. That is another level, higher level of that walking. So not even walking. Now you are seated. In like another 20 minutes, you are standing. I think about how impermanent was my sitting position, our posture. For hour and a half, I was seated. Now it is not anymore. Anicca. And then I don't think you will stand for a while now because it's getting late by 10:15 and you want to walk. Right? How impermanent was my standing posture? I have to walk now, maybe do some chores and sleep. I might work tomorrow and all that. So thinking that means being able to understand beyond the postures themselves in this posture meditation. And then standing still in a moving world, same thing. And sitting, when sitting, no, I'm sitting, but the depth lies in how you sit. Do you sit as if waiting or as if arriving? The Buddha often described sitting meditation as a posture of awakening because it reveals the natural balance of effort and ease. In modern life, you can turn every seat, a chair at your desk, a bench at a park, a cushion before bed, into a throne of mindfulness. Normally, when we learn about the Buddhist stories, even the life of the Buddha, we never find any bodhisattva became a Buddha by walking. Right? The moment of awakening, the what you call Buddhahood. But Arahanthood happened. Arahanthood took place with regard to many, but the full awakening normally happens while sitting down. But that is for Samma Sambuddha. But if you think that you are hitting Samma Sambuddha enlightenment, then it should be okay for you. But if you are looking for enlightenment, I don't think that should be the way. And think about the lying down position. What is it especially for? Lying down without losing awareness. The fourth posture, lying down, is often neglected in mindfulness practice. Is it neglected? I think so. Not many people think that they can be mindful while lying down. They think it's a very cozy position. More akusala might come in, turn on the video platforms. I want to talk to you. I want to be very comfortable. People think this is not a good posture to feel mindful, and yet the truth is different. Yet it is where the deepest truths reveal themselves. Before sleep, when you lie down, feel your body as it settles into the surface beneath. Observe the wake of fatigue, the fading of thoughts, the soft surrender of breath. The key is to remain gently aware. There is lying down until consciousness naturally dissolves. The Buddha, Samma Sambuddhas, how do they come to the Parinibbana? When they pass away, it is said that they come to the Parinibbana. That means, what is Parinibbana? May I know? Parinibbana means
No
the
remainder.
Huh?
No remainder. Parinibbana, you mean?
yeah, Paranibbana in a simple way
Mm.
means, Arahants and even the mainly Arahants, even the Samma Sambuddhas, they already attain Nibbana through whatever the enlightenment. But they still carry the body, right? Panchakanda.
Yes.
Buddha also can get sick. Not even normal sickness. Sometimes they go through very dire sicknesses, what you call dysentery, back pain, right? So that means as long as you carry, you are under the government of Mara, okay? As long as you carry, you are under Mara. You might be the Buddha, you might be the Arahant. You cannot. That's why Mara is very powerful. The Devaputta Mara is so powerful because we are under his domain. That's why it is said he very much prefers people to be reborn in that way. Right? So then the Samma Sambuddhas and even some Arahants, especially Samma Sambuddhas, they think that in order to feel the real happiness of Nibbana, before I pass, because when I pass away, I cannot feel it, right? According to their understanding, I am already done. And I know this is happening in the Buddha's perspective. So before they pass away, they are trying to get into a certain meditative level called Nirodha Samapatti or Sanya Vedaita Nirodha. What do? They are going to suspend perceptions and feelings for 3 days, 4 days, 5 days. The Buddhas can do it for 7 days. Now, all our problems are coming up every day because of our memories, what other people did to us, what did they do to me today, yesterday, what will they do tomorrow, and the feelings I have with regard to what they have done to me in the past. This is why we are struggling every day. We are burning every day. But then it is said that Samma Sambuddhas can suspend their perceptions and feelings for a week. That means if you are that enlightened, you can stop your feelings and perception, but still yet you are living. So Samma Sambuddhas do it way before they pass away because they know this is the kind of experience they will go through when they come to not to Nibbana. Nibbana already came. Parinibbana. So normally Samma Sambuddhas come to Parinibbana in a lying position. So that is another way to look at the importance of lying down position. If lying down position is so comfortable, so messed up, then Samma Sambuddhas won't be able to come to that level. That means we don't have to demonize that thing in that way. All right, mindfulness in motion. You could see this kind of a 360 awareness. Finally, there is a body. It's the understanding that the meditator who is doing posture meditations will be coming to. Freedom from ownership. I think we discussed all that. At the mature stage of posture meditation, mindfulness recognizes simply there is a body, no identification, no clinging. And that body is composites of 5 aggregates. You cease to say at that point, I'm sitting or my body aches. Instead, the awareness observes, sitting is happening, feeling is known, the possessive dissolves into pure knowing. I myself, me part will be cut short or maybe deconstructed. This subtle detachment is not called indifferent, it is freedom. You begin to see the body as part of the natural order, born aging, birth aging, moving, ceasing according to causes and conditions. So even ultimately to live this way is to walk lightly in the world, Panchakanda world, not escaping the body, but dwelling within it, dwelling within the Panchakanda, but without bonding, associating. Every movement, posture movement becomes a remainder of liberation for us. Postures are not anymore postures themselves, they become supportives for us to get into, maybe deepen our liberative practice. All right, now we can have some questions. I think we got 3 questions over here. 2 questions. Bhante, does a fine form beings has a mind too? Because it has no body, does it? It depends. There are some Brahma worlds where they have a body. The body is not that solid. That is why their mind becomes a bit more penetrative. Sometimes their mind is very subtle, body is very coarse, like us. Our body is very manifesting, and then mind is subtle, right? So there are Brahma few Brahma like that. Can the Deva beings which has light, I think you're asking a little bit different questions other than anyway, I will answer. Can the Deva beings which has light find body doing mind? I don't think so. Devas are very much into comforts, most Devas. That's why it's better to become a good human being who can practice Dhamma. Right? Okay, any questions from here? You may show your virtual hand if you have a question. If you have a question, please show your virtual hand and you can ask them. About postures, posture meditation, Satipaṭṭhāna. Yeah, yes, Barbara, please.
Bhante, I think I find lying posture the most difficult because you can fall asleep very fast. So the best way is perhaps getting up in the morning, then do posture when we are not so sleepy anymore. Is that a better idea?
Well, yes. I mean, although we are supposed to use these postures, all the postures, but we may have a preferred posture. So we can use that preferred posture if you think. But I mean, when we practice that particular posture, we don't have to think that this is the only posture I feel good to meditate on. Otherwise, every time I move on to the other postures, I feel I might be into akusala, That's why it's better to keep track of all these postures as time goes by. But at the moment, yes, it's good to work on that posture. But according to Satipaṭṭhāna Sutta's Iriyāpatha section here, we are supposed to use all postures for this practice. That is the plan. Yes.
Yes, of course, because we spend more time sitting than lying down, isn't it, Bhante?
Yeah, usually as I said, lying down is a very comfortable position where people might doze off. But it can be a posture for understanding our panchakanda and then to dissociate from the panchakanda. It can be, depending on how we are doing it. So rather than trying to cherry pick now that this posture is the best one, that is, I think we all have that idea, not even you. But ideally speaking, as we do it from today, it's better to pay attention to all the postures, not even the 4 postures, even the transitional postures in between movements as well, according to how the Buddha says here.
Yeah, we will practice that.
Yeah, we will try, Yeah. Trying is better than doing nothing, right? As always. Any other questions you got? I know that you may have got the message already now. You might feel that now I can't even get up because stand up is a meditation, right? Now it becomes that every posture is a meditation, but don't take it in a very negative way. Don't take it in a way that you feel really little bit pushed to do so. Try to do it slowly with some happiness. I can use any of these postures for my daily meditations. Yeah. If you don't have any questions, we'll take a couple more seconds. If not, we will wrap this up at that point. Okay. If there are no questions, let me bring that Karaniya Metta Sutta's idea now. Because now we understand all the postures, right? What do you call standing, walking, sitting, then lying down. Not even that. The fifth category is transitional in between movements. Now there are 5. But the last one, the 5th one, is implied within those 4. Now, let's go back to Metta Sutta as well. In the Metta Sutta, Buddha says, you need to bring metta into, to all these postures as much as possible. Then that means not even we understand internally, externally, the connection between the body, panchakanda and postures, and then repeated mindfulness, and then how much mindfulness I should be having for this, but also on another ethical layer, we can bring metta into every posture. So I think then we will be able to focus a little bit more about what we are supposed to do with regard to postures. Rather than I merely stand, why not I stand with metta? How can I stand with metta? You know? Maybe I want to do some support for somebody. I want to do something good for someone. I'm standing because of that. Maybe I'm walking because of that. Maybe I'm going to make a tea for somebody. Yeah? Think about a generous act for someone, right? Somebody is thirsty and I'm going to make a tea because I'm walking because I have metta for that person, right? Very simple example. In this way, bring metta at the end, after all these instructions of Satipaṭṭhāna Sutta, we can bring, because Buddha says any posture can be used to create the best attitudes during the day. So none of these postures could be the best if we are not bringing metta into those postures. So I think we will wrap up at that point. So today we learn about postures, not even the postures. The Buddha says that even the transitional in-between movements should be able to be done according to the understanding of postures. And the idea is that understanding that these postures are merely happening, and then we are supposed not to connect them into the Panchakanda world. So we want to live without associating Panchakanda world. We know Panchakanda are built in here, but we live without associating the Panchakanda's nature. And then finally, what we understand is that we might cherry pick one posture because that is how we've been doing already. But according to this teaching, we need to use all postures as much as possible in order for us to understand our Panchakanda nature, and then also our liberative path, which means the Noble Eightfold Path at the end. And finally, it would be very important, to be very nice, be very fruitful if we can bring metta into these postures as well. That could be the best, I think. Okay, with those teachings, we are going to end our discussion now. May all the good karmas we've been making today by... We got one more question, is it? Yeah, those dementia patients, they cannot meditate or feel. What is the best way for them to feel at ease? Now my problem is how to teach them is a problem. not the subject itself, right? So then we have to understand if dementia is an inflammation of neurochemicals, what could be the best way for us to teach something? I think that is something must be done through a medical advice. If it is possible, at that point, we can simply help those dementia patients with not about these Satipaṭṭhāna high-end meditations, maybe asking them to be mindful about their postures. Now I'm going to move up your legs. I'm going to move down your legs. Can you see them? Can you feel it? So maybe the person, the supporter, can help them get used to understanding their postures better. I think still there are different ways to approach. Yeah. So may all the good karmas we've been making today be transferred to all departed ones who passed away in the name of all of us. May they be well and happy. May they attain the supreme bliss of Nibbana. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Idam me ñāti nang hotu. Sukhita huntu ñātayu. Idam me ñāti nang hotu. Sukhita huntu ñātayu. Idam me ñāti nang hotu. Sukhita huntu ñātayu. May Deva Naga Mahedika receive all these good karmas. May they be well and happy. May they attain the supreme bliss of Nibbana. At the same time, may they protect and bless all of us for good health, quality of life, safety, happiness, and prosperity. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Ettavata cha amhehi sambatang punya sampadang sabbe deva anumodantu sabba sampatti siddhya. Ettavata cha amhehi sambatang punya sampadang sabbe bhuta anumodantu sabba sampatti siddhya. Ettavata cha amhehi sambatang punya sampadang sabbe satta anumodantu sabba sampatti siddhya. Akasattha ca bhummattha devanaga mahittika punyantang anumoditva chirang rakkhantu sasanang. Akasattha ca bhummattha devanaga mahittika punyantang anumoditva chirang rakkhantu desanang. Akasattha ca bhummattha devanaga mahittika punyantang anumoditva chirang rakkhantu mang parang chirang rakkhantu tvam sadati. Next will be our Dhamma wish. Our Dhamma wish is to be able to be surrounded with Kalyana Mitras, just like all of you, like-minded Dhamma friends. At the same time, may we become Kalyana Mitras to as many sentient beings as we meet in this samsaric life till we attain Nibbana. Imina punya kammena mami bala samagamo satang samagamo hotu yavanimbana patya. May all the good karmas that we've been making today by learning how to do the posture meditation, Iriyāpatha meditations today in the proper way, called Satipaṭṭhāna Sutta, be supportive and helpful for all of us to attain the supreme bliss of Nibbana. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Abhivadana silissa niccang vaddha pachāino chattaro dhamma vaddhanti ayuvanno sukhang balang ayurarogya sampatti sagga sampatti mevacha ato nibbana sampatti iminati samicchatu. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. With those blessings, wishing you a pleasant good night till we see you again on Friday for the next Satipaṭṭhāna exercise. It's going to be Sampajana. Good night, everyone.
Thank you very much, Bhante.
Good
Good night,
night,
Bhante.
Thank you, Bhante.
Sadhu, sadhu.